So, morning everyone. Hopefully you are all doing well, all staying safe, and all still doing some work while you're at home. Good to see lots of people on spelling frames so far. Keep it up. If you haven't been on, make sure you're logging on. Just do some spellings. It's really important that you're doing something to keep yourself up to date with those spellings and improving any that you might find quite difficult. We have had problems with Education City, so bear with us with that. If you can't log on, it will work eventually. If not, then there's still plenty of other activities that you can do while you are at home. Last week when a lot of us were in, lots of children asked me if I can do some videos, basic revision videos, to cover things that we've taught already in Year 5. So this is going to be the first one of those. What we're going to do is start back in September, start off with the place value, and work our way forwards with all the main key points of the maths that we've already covered so far this year. What I'll do is if I put some questions on the board, I'll tell you to pause, give you a few seconds to work out any questions that I've asked. Then when you're ready, you press play. That way we gives you enough time to answer the questions in your own time, at your own pace, and then see if you've got them correct. So we go all the way back first of all to place value. Place value is really important, so for parents that are watching, basically it's knowing the number system inside and out, knowing how big a number is, where it would be in comparison to other numbers, and it can range anywhere from 0 up into 1 million. That's what we've been learning in Year 5 so far. So hopefully you can see behind me on the whiteboard, we've got some ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s and millions, which is what we learn about in Year 5. So it's really important we know all the numbers in that number system and how big each number is. Okay, so for example, if we have one obviously we know means it is one of something. We only have one of it, it would be 1 in the ones column. You can see that. Any number in between 1 and 10, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 9, will go in this column here. After 9, we have 10. 10 is a bit of a different number because what it means that we have one lot of 10, or 1 in our tens column. What's really important that any column that is to the right up to decimal place, if there's nothing in it, we need to make sure we have a 0. Obviously, anything that's to the left of it, we don't need to put a 0 in there because we know that the number's not 0, 10, it's just 10. Okay. With this number system, we learn about it from when we're in reception, when we start counting from 0 up to 10. We might start counting to 20 when we're a little bit older. We need to know this number system inside and out. Okay, so I know that I have 1. If I have 10, I have 10 lots of 1, or 1 lot of 10. This is the same as 1 multiplied by 10, 10 lots of 1. Okay, quite simple. Yep. If I have 1, and I was to count up to 100, if I have 100 ones, rather than making numbers up so we 99 and then 1 in different ways that we can partition it, easiest way to go is put 1 set of 100, we have 0 tens and 0 ones. I can go from here, I can go from 1, I can multiply it by 10, I have 10 ones is 10, or 100 tens is the same as 100. To do 100 tens, 100 multiplied by 1, I multiply it by 10, multiply it by 10 again. Okay. If we look at the number system, you can see that I've colour coded it here, so we've got our hundreds, tens, ones, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and then millions. I've tried to do them in different colours because when we use it, we usually use them together in threes. So for example, I use my first number system is from 0 to 999. 999. This shows me that I have 9 hundreds, 9 tens, and 9 ones all together. If I add them together, it would be 999. Same as 900, add 90, add 9 if we were to partition it. If I were to add 1 to that number, however, we would then go into a different set of number systems. That different number is 1000. Okay, so I would have 1 in the thousands column, 0 hundreds, 0 tens, 0 ones. The comma is here for a reason. As you can see, there's a comma here in the millions. It's because we usually group them together in threes. So hundreds, tens, ones. We then have thousands, 10,000s, hundreds. So here, for example, you can have 1 of something, 10 of something, 100. Talking about thousands, we have 1,000s, 10,000s, 100,000s. When we then start looking at millions, billions, it would be the same. We'd have 1 million, 10 million, 100 millions. Okay? Which is why we use the comma. So especially anything over a 4-digit number, we use the comma just to help us to identify which ones are the numbers less than 1,000 and which ones are the ones more than 1,000. Okay? Today what we're going to be looking at is partitioning. So it's knowing each number in our number system and what they are valued at, so what the number represents. So for example, if I have the number 57,432, hopefully you can all see that on the board, 50,000, 7,000, 4,000, 430 and 2. Each one of these numbers has a different value. So this value here, it is a 5 in the 10,000 column. That means that it is worth 50,000. It's not worth 5, it's not worth 50, it's worth 50,000. Okay? Same as the 3 in this column here is worth 3 tens or 30. It's not just worth 3, it's worth 30. So it's really important that each number in its column has its own value and it's not just the number that is represented. If it's ever in the ones column, so you can see here we've got a 2, the value is therefore just a 2 because it's 2 ones. This number here would be 4 hundreds, 400, 4s in the 100 column, and this number is 7 in the 1,000 column, so 7,000. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to partition the number that I'm about to write on the board. If you can't see it, I will explain what it is anyway. You can write it down and write it as in we are adding them together. Talk to your parents, talk about how you could partition these in different ways. So I'm going to use a 6-digit number today. So I'm going to use 746,891. So what I'd like you to do is to partition them. Think about what each value is worth. So is this worth a 7? Is it 700,000? Is it 70? How do you know why? Explain your reasoning. And then to be able to say, well, what is the 8 worth? What is the 4 worth? What is the 1 worth? So every single time we partition it. If you're going to do this now with your parents, I would like you to pause the video now and then play it when you are ready. Go. Okay, so hopefully by now you've had time to work it out. If you didn't pause it, make sure you go back and pause it again, just so you have that chance to do so. So if we look at the bottom numbers, I can see this number here is 1. It's 1 in the ones column. In the tens column, I have 9, so that's the same as a 90. In the hundreds column, I have an 8, same as 800. A 6 in the 1,000 column, same as 6,000. 4 in the 40,000s, 10,000s, 40,000. And 7 in the 100,000s is the same as 700,000. So if we were to partition this number, we would have 700,000, add 40,000, add 6,000, add 800, add 90, add 1. Okay. If you are still a bit confused when you're doing these, and you're not quite sure, and maybe you might be getting some thousands a bit mixed up, what you could do is to generate your own numbers. Okay. If you have a dice, you can roll a dice and put a 6-digit number, and then partition these 6-digit numbers. Or you can go online, you can type in generate a random number. There's apps on there which can let you generate any you can type in 6 digits and it will give you a 6-digit number. Okay, so it's really important that actually we know how to partition and how we know what the value of each one of these is. If we don't know what the value of these is, when it comes to rounding, which we'll be doing in the next few days, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, anything that involves number, we're going to really struggle. So it's really important that we know exactly what these are valued at. Okay. So for the next activity, we're going to use a 7-digit number. Okay, so we're going to use 5,320,406. Okay, what you'll notice is slightly different with this number than the previous number is that I've used our millions, and again I've used a comma to separate my millions from my thousands and from my ones units. So here, separating these three. And what I'd like you to do is talk to your parents now, or talk to your brothers, sisters, whoever you're working with at home. If you're working by yourself, talk to yourself. Do whatever you need to do, that's absolutely fine. And try and partition this number. How could you do it? And talk to your parents as well. Why are there zeros here? What effect does these zeros have? Okay, I'm going to give you however long you need. When you're ready, just press play again now. Okay then, so hopefully you've had a good discussion about this number, and obviously knowing that 5 million is the same as 5 lots of 1, 5 million lots of 1, sorry, or 5 lots of 1 million, okay? And you've realised actually the zeros in here are really, really important. So we use a zero a lot of the time as something called a placeholder, okay? That means that it doesn't mean that that is nothing. We don't have anything because obviously we have a number here. What it means that if we look at our tens, we actually have 0 tens at the moment. Okay, we could argue that actually we have 532,040 tens and 40 tens. However, we don't have any in this column at the moment. So at the moment in this tens column we have 0. It's really important that we remember to put the 0 in, because if we forget, then our number would actually be 53,246, which is obviously a lot smaller than the 5,320,406 that we had originally. So really, really important to remember to put our zeros in, but the zeros are just mean that there is nothing in that column at the moment. Okay? I would like you to, on your whiteboard now, or on your paper now, whatever you're writing, write down a number which has 7 millions, 4 10,000s, and 9 hundreds. That is it. I want to know the number which has 7 millions, 4 10,000s, and 9 hundreds. Pause the video now, unver it and quickly rub it out. If you can do it quickly, you might not need to pause it. Write it on the whiteboard and try and find out what the answer is now. Go. Okay then, so hopefully by now you've worked out what numbers are. I'm just going to show you how we'll do that on our number chart. So I have 7 millions, I need to put 7 in my million column, 4 10,000s, 4 in the 10,000 column, and 9 in the 100 column. So my answer therefore is 749, yes? Well, actually no, no it's not. I know a lot of you are shouting challenge at me through your at your computer screen. We need to make sure that we add zeros into all the columns that are not being used. So the answer was 7,040,900. Okay. I could partition this in different ways. It's the exact number that I've got now. So I can say that this is the same as 7 million, add 40,000, add 900. Or I could say it's the same as 5 million. So I'm just going to go in numbers. Add 2 million. Add 40,000. Add 900. The reason is these two numbers here, 5 million add 2 million, still give me 7 million. It's all different ways I can partition the number to break it down into different ways. Okay. In terms of first lessons, we know something that's very, very simple. Place value is something that we do very early on. We don't move on until we think that the majority of class have understood it. Okay. So we'll be doing a different lesson tomorrow, which will be on comparing and ordering numbers, and then after that we're looking at rounding. Rounding is something we find a lot more difficult than the normal place value and the comparing and ordering, because it's something that you have to have a very, very good knowledge of the number system for. So it's really good with practicing these numbers. You might want to, some activities you might decide to do now, you might want to keep rolling a dice, generate the numbers, partition it into however many digits that you need to, okay? You might then decide that you want to maybe add some tens, add some hundreds to numbers. So for example, with this number, if I were to say, what is this number, add 100? Because it's going to change the number completely, and in order for you to understand how to do that, you're going to have a really good understanding of hundreds, and the fact that this would then become 741,000 rather than 740,900, okay? Or adding tens, ones, adding 10,000s to change the numbers a little bit as well. Okay, so that could be one activity that you could do. The other things that you could do would be to partition it in different ways. So rather than just partition it into just what the columns are, can you partition each number 5 different ways, for example, by splitting some of the numbers up? So for example, here we have the 7 million into the 5 million and 2 million. Okay, so very basic start to our revision lessons. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you're all doing well. Again, hopefully you're all doing staying safe, and make sure that you keep doing some form of work every day. Reading, really important that you read every day. I would say go on the spelling frame every day. Keep going on the body coach, making sure you're doing the PE session that you do live at 9 o'clock. Excellent way to start your day. And then finish with a bit of maths, a bit of topic work if you need to. If you check the class webpage, there is loads of stuff on there. In case you get bored, I've put some links to WWF stuff on there. There's the International Space Station stuff that we covered in class over the last few days before we split up. And then there are loads of other activities on there that Mr. Wareham has spent a long time putting them on as well. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow.